right. Well, I'm so excited to talk to you today, to let everybody know who's joining us. We did a podcast together. We recorded a podcast together. It was so lovely. And Barb, you are somebody that inspired me. One really important step in sort of putting my mental health first, which my entire podcast is about exploring how to find the tools to help you live outside of your head and live a better life instead. One of the tools that I did was to cleanse my social media feed. And my friend Lauren, she kept sending me your posts. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, who is this peaceful Barb? I need her more in my life. And I just realized you had your account, Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life. So I followed that. I followed you. And as soon as I kind of like started going through my feed and taking off all the accounts that I was like, well, I'm not going to follow this account anymore because it doesn't make me feel like Barb's. I'm not going to follow any account that doesn't serve me the way that Barb's Instagram account serves me. And I just, taking that important step and that ownership in my feed, I've been on social media for, I don't know, more than 10 years. And it's like, why did I not do that for myself? Why did I not treat that as a very important step in my mental health? I just really thank you.
Not that we don't become aware of that just overnight. I think it takes some time to recognize what's influencing us in a not so great, possibly harmful way. So it takes time. I'm literally doing that again after all these years on Facebook.
Yeah.
I had a lot of attention to my the people that had friended and all that and all the comments that were happening. And so recently with this quarantine, I've spent some time on Facebook just looking at the people and what are some of the comments. And I thought, it's time to, just what you came to, it's time to do a little cleaning here because I've got some energy here that's not really in alignment with who I am or in alignment with the people that are wanting the messages, because there's a lot of fighting back and forth going on. So it is interesting. We become aware in the time that we're meant to become aware. And then when we become aware, we have to take action. And so it's a really beautiful thing that you took action. I mean, a lot of people become aware and then kind of get stuck in, now what do I do next? And that's fine too, because it takes time, but it's always good to, once you're aware of something that's not serving you, to take the action. So good. Yeah, it's all good.
Thanks. Oh my gosh. Well, I appreciate you. So we're going to dive into some questions.
My favorite.
I had such a wild explosion of positivity after the first podcast went live on Monday. So many of my friends, so many of my fans, especially with my brand new song coming out last week, that's all about, not living in your head and living your life and being in the moment. Be where your feet are. You said that in the podcast, and that's like my new mantra now. It's like, I just feel like so many people had so many like wonderful things to say about you, but they also had so many questions for you. And I have some questions for you. I'm just so excited to dive in. So are we good to get going?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Let's do it.
Okay. Yes, this is my favorite.
Yes. All right. So Rebecca asks, what are some tips on how to deal with anxiety of living with rational and irrational fears?
Oh, such a good one. So I would first start with becoming aware of the rational fears, which it sounds like you are, and the irrational ones. And knowing that it all starts in your mind, that everything is a thought in your mind. So a rational fear could be, yeah, this COVID virus is really serious and really dangerous. An irrational fear is that I need to lock myself up and not do anything because I can't live. So trying to find that balance of, yes, this is dangerous, and what do I need to do to protect myself? Wear a mask, social distance, do all of the things. And then being able to let go of what's going to happen next. So really what I'm saying is you have to stay in the present moment. We always have to be in the moment, because there's no way to choose in the past of whatever is happening if that's an irrational fear. And there's no way to choose in the future because that hasn't happened yet. So when we're really in the present moment, aware that a fear has come up, we can be in the moment doing everything that we can to pay attention to one pointedly on the task at hand. All is well right here in this moment. So the fear really starts to dissipate because you're really right here in the moment. So how you can start to do that is using your breath and recognizing. If you've recognized you have the fear, Say, name it. Oh my gosh, I am afraid of X, or I'm afraid of this. Name the fear, understand what's happening with the fear. Because Eckhart Tolle always says where there's anger or fear or resentment, there's always pain underneath. So once you name the fear, you can kind of get down to what's causing the fear. And it could be sadness, it could be pain, it could be all of those things, but mostly it's because you've left the present moment. So if there's sadness and fear, most of the time it's because I'm worried or I'm projecting what could happen later. So my biggest tip is you're aware, already aware. Now bring yourself back to the present moment with your breath, or even with an affirmation like, okay, let me stop. Let me take a moment. All is well in this moment. You start to calm down even by taking that break. You start to calm down in the moment. And now you can be 100% rational, 100% clear, and really start talking to yourself. What's happening? I talk to myself all day long. What's happening for you in this moment, Barb? What do you need right now? What is causing this fear that's irrational? And what is causing the fear that could be real? But what can I do about it? So I've been saying lately to people, I know this is a long answer because I think it's everything. Yes, we're afraid, we're sad, we have all of these emotions that are normal that we have to feel, angry. But what's at the root of all of that is lack of control. We
Mm.
have control over anything, and we never have. But during this pandemic, we sure get it, like moment to moment. It's not just like tomorrow or the next day. It could be in this next moment, which has been true of life all along. So now that we really know that, we have zero control. And the only control we have is over our own response and our own welfare, our own well-being, our own mental health. Our everything is all about that. So really focusing on that, understanding my real true power lies in what I do, how I respond, how I take care of myself, how I understand and become aware of what's happening for me. So really the segment that you put on Instagram, that was so cool. I thought, is that my voice? Really, you start to become the boss of you. Just,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing. Don't allow the irrational or even the rational fear. If there's a rational fear, take an action. You know, I always love this. I had a teacher who once said, you're not going to put your hand in a tiger's cage because he's going to bite your hand. So that's a real fear. I'm not going to go put my hand in the tiger's cage, or I'm not going to go put my hand on fire. As a little child, we learned, don't put your hand in fire. So those are rational fears. And so you take action. Okay, so take the action. Irrational fears, they don't exist. They're not
Yeah,
real.
they're
Um,
not real.
no, so don't succumb to it and use your power, because that's the only power you have, and make a choice and take an action. And irrational fear means take an action that brings you out of the past or the future and into the present moment.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I
And
just I need the whole day to just think about what you said. My goodness. I
it's it's you. We're not perfect, and just be kind to yourself and just laugh. I laugh when I get into a fearful place, and especially with this pandemic, I've been in a sad place a lot. I noticed that it's been very emotional for me. I'll feel the feeling, and then I immediately say, okay, Barb, you know, now let's move on. Or I'll start to laugh, or I'll say, you know what, this is really sad, because when you feel the feelings deeply, you're done. And then
hmm
you're on. You're not ignoring it. You're not pushing it down. You're done. You know, I've felt it. I've done what I need to do with it. I'm not trying to hide it or pretend like it's not there. And so I'm ready to move on to the next feeling or the next task that I'm ready to do.
Right. Right. All right. Wow, that was amazing. You're
So,
amazing. Okay, let's move on. This is a really good one, and this is one that I struggle with too. How come I struggle taking people's compliments?
oh, such a good one. Oh my gosh. I think as women we do, right? I,
Yes.
oh, I I have always struggled with that. And even to this day, when someone compliments me, I hope they don't notice, but I almost take a pause, because I've got to stop myself from saying, oh my gosh, no, but your hair is so much prettier.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
nothing. My sister gave me this, or, oh, you're too kind. You know, so I really have to take a pause sometimes and just say, thank you.
hmm
Alone. I guess the only thing that I can say about that, you're not alone. We all do it. I think I do kind of think it's a woman thing or a girl thing, but I also think it's how we as women have been I know that I was taught never to be selfish, never to be, not, and if you were raised in the Catholic faith, which I was, you were kind of always supposed to put everyone else first and be a giver, and it's better to give than receive, all those things, which are all true. But I took it to the extreme that meant that I didn't matter, that I
Mm,
should be in the equation at all. And I don't believe that that's what anyone's ever saying, any master or teacher is saying. I think they're saying, take care of you and take care of others. Like, don't only be egotistical and take care of you. So I think we just been, I know that I was raised that, that it's like being a little bit egotistical to accept a compliment, or to think that I look pretty, or whatever's happening in the moment for you. And so just train yourself. Between every stimulus, there's a pause between the response. This has saved my life. If you just get this out of this whole thing, somebody says something, there's a tiny little pause, and then your action. So when someone says, wow, you really look pretty today, just in your mind, train yourself to just pause for it, like it's a nanosecond, and just say thank you. Like, build that muscle and that habit of whatever someone says to you, just say thank you. And then if they say, oh, where'd you buy that dress? Then you're comfortable. I think once you get past that initial, wow, you really look nice today, which has made me feel a little like uncomfortable sometimes. I don't know why, it's just in me. So if you can get past that in the pause, thank you. Then you're home free. You truly are home.
totally.
I love then. Oh yeah, I bought this here. Or this happened. Yeah, yeah. It does. I really like the way it brings out my eyes, or because then you're comfortable. You've gotten past that awkward, whatever it is. I like to tell people to stop. Don't overanalyze the things that don't matter. Like, I don't know why I still do that after 37 years of practicing meditation, mindful. I don't know why. It just is. It was ingrained in me, and so who cares? There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong. I'm not, oh my gosh, I'm not the person that I think no, we're not perfect. So I've really just allowed myself to, okay, take a space here and say thank you. And nothing more. Just thank you. Because you can't, I think if you learn anything else, it gets too muddled and it gets too confusing in the brain. Just thank you. So
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with you. We all do it. We all do it.
Oh my
Everybody.
gosh. I know I am so bad at doing that. And especially too, like even taking it one step further, like when I know I used to do this, I used to kind of take ownership and being like, oh, I have no filter. I just say it how it is. And it's like, I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think there always should be sort of that take a beat, take a little beat right before you say something. Where is it coming from? What is this response? Like, again, it's the same thing with a compliment. Oh my gosh, no, like that I look terrible today. Like basically calling that person a liar. It's like when you say like, no, no, you're wrong. I look terrible. It's like, no, no, just take a minute. And it really is it's a muscle. It's like a thought muscle.
And I think if we could do this all day, I love talking to you, but I think if you take it then the next step, because you say no, oh no, no, I look terrible. Oh my gosh, you're too kind. That's just not true, but thank you anyway, whatever we say. What are we doing? We're making that whole conversation a conversation. Like the one person saying, I like your hair today becomes a 15 or 20-minute deal that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nor do I want that to be a 20-minute deal. So I really think that those things, and I don't want to take spontaneity away either. I love that you said that. There's something cool about, I have a couple of friends in my life who've been no filter. I used
Yeah.
to call them friend. You're like a no filter friend, because I've never been like that. And it's really nice to have. Maybe that's why you and I have that. It's really nice to have that. So there's really good discernment that has to happen between being spontaneous and fun, loving and laughing. And then when you realize you're being triggered though, see, I think that's the awareness and the cool part about practicing being in the moment, mindfulness technique, self-care. You really start to recognize inside your body when you're triggered. So if someone says, if I happen to get triggered by a compliment, I know it. So
Yeah.
I know a short little pause where in other moments, no filter can be fun. And, as long as it's not at the expense of hurting people, obviously. So it can be fun to do that too. So nothing is rigid and nothing is always the same, but it's just knowing who you are and what's happening for you in the moment, and never, never beating yourself up or judging yourself or wishing you hadn't or any of that stuff.
Honoring you, just knowing you, getting to know you,
Not
which is,
perfect. Not perfect. We're not
no,
perfect. The coolest thing is just being who you are and being humble. And oh my gosh, that just didn't go so well. Okay, now I learned, or next time I'll do better, or whatever it is. what is that, Maya Angelou? One of my favorite quotes of all time. When we know better, we do better.
Ugh,
Shortened it, but I mean, that's it. Period. When we know better, we do better. Okay. Good. Good to know. Now to
I
time to
I love that. I love that. Okay. Next one. These are all so interesting. In this crazy world we live in, how can I try and switch off from all of it?
Oh,
It's a
so
pretty heavy one.
yeah. I take the word try out.
Yeah.
I've been trying to take, we use try a lot. And so take the word try out and just sit. I think we have a misunderstanding of what disconnecting or meditating or being mindful or any of those things. It's part of the reason why I titled my TED Talk, The Power of Sitting with Yourself. I think it's really just about sitting. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed and you want to disconnect, don't make it a big deal. Don't think, oh, I'll do it at 5, or I'll make sure that I do it when everything is okay, or I know that I'll have time to sit down when the kids are done with this or when that. Just go do it. And I don't mean to abandon what you're doing in the moment, but I mean be so in tune with your body when your body says, you know what, Barb, you need to take a tiny break here and stop pushing and pushing or stop going. I'm a type A. I have to listen to myself all the time. So just do it and don't make it bigger than it has to be. It's just really just sitting down with you for a minute or two and just sitting there and saying, hey, how are you doing today, Barb? You know, what's happening for you? How are you feeling? What do you need? You know that you need to disconnect. We all do. It sounds like you're aware that you need to disconnect. So just start little places here and there. Um, I've been teaching, there was a study that was done that there are 1,440 minutes in a day, and 1% of that is 14 minutes. And they did a study that if you can weave a minute here and a minute there all throughout the day in 14 minutes, that gives you the shift that you need to actually change the other 99% of the day. And I think having practiced meditation and mindfulness for 30 plus years, I recognize how powerful that a 1 minute can be. And I think
Yeah.
until you do it, you don't, oh, what can 1 minute do? It's everything. Just to stop the mind or the feelings that are happening and feel them, and just to pause and have that break and then begin again. So I like to say stop, pause, and begin again all day long. Don't try to push through the feelings or push through the anxiety. You're only feeding it worse. I can do this. I can do this. Yes, you can do it. But if you take a pause and take a few deep breaths and just sit with yourself for a minute, you'll actually feel the power that you can do it, and the mind and the body gets connected to the truth that you can do it. And I think sometimes we don't take the body with us and we just keep pushing, and the body's trying to say, please just give me a 1 minute break. Please
Mm.
just for 1 minute. So that would be my answer. Just start sitting with yourself for a minute here and a minute there. And if you're at work, go in the bathroom and shut the door. Or when you're driving, before you get out of the car to go into work or to go into school, wherever it is, the grocery store, just turn the car off and sit just for a second, not even a minute, just 30 seconds, and just notice your breath and connect, and then go in. Before you
Mm-hmm.
answer the telephone, before we got on this call, I just sat with myself for just a few seconds and just noticing my breath, feeling the warmth and excitement about being with you and being with your friends, answering questions, and feeling like this is my most favorite moment ever. You start to understand that this moment right now is always the most favorite moment ever.
Yeah.
Because right now it's being where your feet are. And when you're where your feet are, you just are so excited to be there. And I think if you cultivate that with yourself for no reason, just to sit, it becomes an amazing friendship that you start to develop.
Oh, I love that. And that's one thing I think during this quarantine that has been probably the theme of what's personally been going on in my life during this quarantine is just to take a minute, take a beat, take a step back, and it's okay to do that. And for me, like I'm starting to realize how much of the hamster wheel I was on, and how when I don't feel good, even just mentally, that's enough to maybe move some plans around. Like for example, like I used to just book myself crazy with rights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And like for me, when you're a songwriter, you kind of work from 10 to 2 and then 3 to 5, and that mental energy is spent trying to create something that doesn't exist. You know, you're trying to make a song and it doesn't exist yet. And it's so mentally draining by the end of the day that I am so drained in like the best way possible. I love what I do.
Oh,
But some days I wake up and I'm not full, but I still force myself to go. And it's like, well, maybe I need to check in with myself and say, you know what? I think today would be better spent having just a conversation. Or maybe I need a personal day to fill my cup back up. And that's enough. That's okay. I'm starting to realize that that's okay. And I don't have to force myself because it really, no one's going to win if I show up and my cup's empty, you know?
and I think everything's okay. I mean, as long as you're not harming other people and you're not in jeopardy. I agree. I had to film it. I wanted to film a meditation last week, and I woke up in the morning off, but I
Yeah.
needed to do it. I couldn't. So I want to say this for everyone out there that's listening. Sometimes you have to do things. You
Hmm.
don't have a choice, but you do have a choice in how you're going to do it. And so I recognized in that moment when I woke up, this is going to be a day, Barb, where you're going to need to do what you need to do and then take a pause and do it again and take a pause and do it again, even if it takes you all day. That's why I don't book a lot of things in one day. Even if it takes you all day, which it did. It took me all day. My daughter, Michelle, was like, Mom, you didn't call me all day. Are you okay? And I said, Michelle, it took me all day to film this thing. She goes, what? I just knew that. And so giving yourself the permission to take that 1 minute break here and there. That's all I did. I didn't just stop. I literally just stopped for a minute, got a drink of water, walked around my house, sat back down. You know, just doing that all day long instead of trying to push yourself into something. Because what happens when you do that? You start beating yourself up. What's the matter with you? My goodness, this is like a 7 minute deal. You're just taking 7 hours. What is wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with me. It's what it took that day.
Hmm.
And I think we don't realize how much of our energy is wasted and how much we are really affecting our self-worth and our self-love and our self-care by saying, what is wrong with you? Nothing. This is what it took today. And it's okay. It's enough. It's more than enough.
Hmm.
Love for everyone to start engaging in those words. I mean, really realizing, what are you saying to yourself all day long? And then you wonder why you're tired and anxious and fearful and all the things, because you're constantly beating yourself up that you're not good enough. And why did you do this? Why did this happen? You're better than that? Whatever we're saying to ourselves. I would love it if people just looked at what they say to themselves and changed the reel. You know,
Yes.
the channel on Netflix or whatever, just change it, because it's not helping.
No,
Helping.
it's
It's
not.
hurting.
Well, we're going to need another podcast, Barb.
Gosh,
There's just too much goodness that you're saying right now. Okay, we'll do one more question because you are just,
I'll make it. So sorry. We should be.
no, I would listen to you all day.
I,
Are you kidding? But I just don't want to take up
hopefully,
too much of your
hopefully
time.
these long answers is helping a lot of people all in one. So
Honestly, I see brand new people that are
good.
from your account. I see my fans saying, "Oh my gosh, that is so true." For all my fans out there, here's why I post about Barb all the time. I mean, she is just an angel of wisdom and peace. It's
We are
amazing.
all doing the best we can.
Okay. Okay, this is a good one. So somebody asked, what are the proper steps to leaving the past behind so it stops haunting you?
Really good one. And I got to be short, right?
Nope, you don't. I'm
Well,
taking that off.
it it's simple but not easy. The steps are simple, but it's not easy. The best way that I did it first, if it's very traumatic like mine was, get help. Find a psychologist, find a counselor, find a devoted friend that you can be completely vulnerable with. Find someone else to talk to about it, especially I would say a professional if it's serious trauma, which is what
Hmm.
I had to go through all the early days of my life. If it's just getting over a failure that you're calling a failure, or getting over something that just didn't go the way that you would have wanted it to go and isn't anything traumatic, you have to feel the feelings. And I think most of the time we're not finished with something because it's too hard to be completely honest with ourselves. The pain can be too hard. So really it's about feeling the feeling of what is happening in the moment for you, what is causing this past harm, not a serious traumatic one, but just one that you can look at for yourself. And then what do I need to do to sit with it for a minute every day at a time. Just a minute. No more. Just a minute. What do I need to feel right now? And just sit with it and name the feeling. I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling hurt, or whatever it is, and just name it every day, just for a minute. Next day, you might be saying, I'm feeling disgusted, or whatever the word is. Just name it, feel it, and stop. And just keep doing that every day for a minute here and a minute there every day. And you'll start to recognize that you're unearthing. I like to call it, you're peeling the layers of an onion, because really what you're doing is trying to forgive yourself. Most of the time, it's the forgiveness for ourselves, for getting ourselves asked for the first place, because I'm not talking about something traumatic. And so it's about forgiving yourself and letting go so that you can be able to move on. And we can't move on until we actually unearth everything that is under all of this pain that we're suffering from the past. So, and I would journal, maybe just journal, free write your feelings without complete sentences, without trying to control it. Just free write, just so that you can constantly keep getting out all of the things. Michelle, my daughter Michelle, she always says our thoughts need a home. And so journaling is the home, like putting your thoughts to paper, giving your thoughts a home. Is a lot, because you're carrying it inside of you. Then you'll come to a place one day where you're sitting down for that minute and the pain doesn't feel so severe. Or it's almost like, wow, I've been there already. Okay, so what am I feeling now? And what am I feeling now? And the only other thing I would say about it is be patient. There is no timeline. Healing is not linear. Grief is not linear. There is no timeline. There's no magic way to get rid of it right away. Just really be with yourself, care for yourself, find someone else to talk to, and just know that this will move out of you as you have the intention of letting it all go. And allow it to take its time. I'll never forget, I had a person that I needed to forgive, and it was very serious. It took me 6 years.
Wow.
And I don't want to scare whoever asked that question, because it doesn't have to take 6 years. This was pretty serious. I did seek counseling for it. This was pretty serious, but I'll tell you, I'm almost at the verge of tears, because I am so grateful and so happy. I think back, and I would have done this for my whole life just to be done with it. And if you allow yourself the chance to be open and receptive and kind and gentle with yourself, and allow it to take whatever it takes, you will come out the other side free. You'll come out the other side free, because forgiveness is really not about the other person anyway. It's always about yourself and setting yourself free.
Absolutely.
It really is about that. And the past is your teacher. It's nothing else. Learn the teaching, feel the pain, work through the pain, and then use those teachings to move on. What did that beautiful Maya Angelou quote? I wish I could think of the whole thing right now off the bat. I'm not remembering the entire thing, but just forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know. Now that you know, you take different actions. You do different things. Right. You step into your life in a totally different way.
Oh, I love this. I love that. I love that answer. And that resonates so much with me. There's this, again, this quarantine, we've all been stuck with our thoughts and ourselves, and we don't have our normal distractions like work, friends, happy hours, all of these things. And I've been dealing with a couple of things where it's like, oh, why is that memory still making me feel weird? Or, oh, why is that bugging me still? Oh, or like, oh, why is this person bugging me still? And it's like, oh, wait, I haven't forgiven myself for the mistake that I made and the thing that I'm mad at myself for doing and dealing with during that. And I need to.
I would say for me, that was the biggest piece. It's brilliant that you just said that, because so we ask the why, and then we immediately go to the what. So what is it about this that's triggering me? And 90% of the time, it's, how could I be so stupid? How did I not see the signs? Why did I allow myself? Whatever. So the what is important. The why comes first. Okay, why am I feeling this way? But then, what is it about this that's causing me to feel this way? Oh, 99% of the time it's because you're beating yourself up. It's like, how come I didn't know? Well, because you're not psychic and perfect, and just, we didn't come here knowing everything. Yeah. And so the light bulb starts to go off in your head, where you start to recognize, wow, that's where people say the blessing underneath the pain, the silver lining, all of the things that are so true, but so hard to really believe until you actually feel the freedom from the pain and realize that most of your pain is coming from yourself and beating
Mm-hmm.
yourself up. You said something, one more thing that I would close with, and that is so true. During this time, the world is pretty much shut down and now it's opening back up. So as it's opening back up, more of the distractions are coming back in. But the world shut down and the mind sped up. So it
Mm.
couldn't ignore the thoughts in the mind anymore. So it's really been the Michelle Maros, my daughter, she's brilliant. She says, Mom, you know what this quarantine is? It's a petri dish. It's like we are all scientists. It's like it's for us to be looking in this dish. Every thought is right there because we can't escape it. So we're like under a microscope with our minds. And so it's just really take this opportunity to get to know yourself and the thoughts that you're thinking so intimately. And you will see most of them are negative, most of them aren't true, and most of them are really not true and being mean to yourself. You know,
Yeah.
so just that one thing before you step back out into the new normal that we're going to be facing, and you will see your life just change unbelievably. Yeah. Oh, so good. Oh, I love you,
Oh,
Olivia.
I love you too,
I
Barb. Thank
love
you so much for coming into my life. And thank you, Lauren, for putting you into my life.
Lauren, yeah, Peace of Mind, Peace Life, Lauren Shawcross, Michelle Maros. We're a team trying to help bring, just trying to empower everyone to be who they are, to love themselves completely, trust yourself completely. You will see your life change so dramatically just by giving yourself a break and loving yourself for everything that you are and all of the things that you do. So I love you. I love all of you here. Thank you.
Thank you
Until we
guys so much. Thanks, Barb.
thank
Have a great rest of your day.
you. Love you.
Wow, guys. Can you believe? Can you believe? She's incredible. I know. I know. I can't wait to see what you guys say about her. She is just, I'm so thankful that I found her just one day on Instagram, you guys. Like mm, she has really, really been a light for me every single time I log on to my social media. And now that we're developing a relationship after this podcast and with his Instagram live, and she's just, there's something to just really leaning into the peace